Hey everybody, welcome to the Shell Show. I am your host, Jacob Shell, and we are here to talk business, finance, family, faith, all of it. We're going to get into it, and thank you for tuning in. Let's get to the show. We are live. Welcome everybody. We don't have a show name yet.
I mean, it's to be determined. Is the show name possibly?
Maybe. We were looking at that, but it looks like there's a lot of other people with the same name.
So
we are going to be determining at a later date what exactly the name of this podcast will be.
yeah. So it's not called to be determined, but it is
Yes.
to be determined.
Exactly. To be determined. So, obviously, I'm Jacob Shell. This is my co-host, as of right now, Mr. Trey Melton, Jr., the third.
That is I. None of the juniors are thirds, but yes, Trey Melton.
We're going to flow a little bit, you know what I'm saying, and just kind of get into it. We'll give a quick introduction. We just told you who we are. We're both from Concord, North Carolina.
That's right.
Yeehaw, baby.
Represent.
Growing up in the good old city of Concord. Not Concord, Concord.
That's right.
And we are in the studio right now because why not start it off right?
Listen,
you know?
When you have two personalities like this, you have to go big for it off the beginning.
Yeah.
We know what this is going to be.
We always build things prepared to scale, and I feel like this is prepared to scale.
Yeah. We're starting very high, so we're skipping a few of the scales.
Yeah, we're skipping a few steps because typically you start this off like just recording on your iPhone.
Yeah, or like, a little mic in a closet or something.
Little bathroom.
Yeah,
microphone.
no. Whole studio, episode one.
That's right. Production studio.
Lights.
We got the crew out here with 3 different camera views.
We
got
cameras.
the audio. We got the booth over there. We're ready to rock. So, this is where we'd usually have a word from our sponsors, but this is episode 1 and we don't have any sponsors. So, here's a word from our sponsors. My name's Jake. His name's Trey, and we're the sponsors of this.
Yeah, hello. It's a pleasure to be sponsoring this podcast.
And we got the Berg. We got the Bass Pro
Bass Pro.
shops. Bass Pro's not a sponsor. Neither is the Berg, but we're gonna represent.
Bass Pro, if you are listening and you do want to sponsor, I already have a hat, so you don't got to send one. And they're only $5, so I'm sure Jake's fine with buying one.
Yeah, we can pick one up.
And we'll take the sponsorship.
Get in on the ground floor because I promise you, if this gets to episode 4 and y'all haven't called me yet, there probably won't be any sponsorships available. So
it'll be over. We'll go with more of a what's the other one called? I'm not sure what it's called.
Well, Gander Mountain.
I would say Cabela's. But that's basically Bass Pro Shop also.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll go with Home Depot.
Home Depot, baby. Got them projects rolling with the honey-do list.
That's right.
My wife's got a honey-do list for me. If you're watching this, baby, I love you. Thank you for watching Oliver while we're messing around in here.
And my wife is not my wife yet, so I know you're.
Are we gonna name drop?
I know you're. No, I know you're out there, and I know you're behaving yourself and being respectful, so we can have a healthy marriage.
All right, so let's talk about. We talked about briefly who we are. We'll get into that a little later. Mr. Trey Melton, why don't you give us the backstory on how we met?
Yeah. So basically. Regardless of what everyone thinks and how close we've been over the years, I came to First Assembly in 3rd grade, in the middle of 3rd grade, and Jake hated me.
Yes, that's a fact.
Jake actually hated me at first.
I did not like him one bit.
Dude wouldn't even talk to me. It's because I was the new cool guy on campus,
Stealing all my friends.
Stealing all his friends.
Yeah.
I didn't ask to take them. They were just offering friendship to me, and I accepted.
Let's get this out of the way first, because my man showed up with long hair and highlights.
Well, no, not highlights.
No, you had highlights.
It's not highlights. It was just I was in the sun a lot.
My man had his brown hair, and he had them blonde streaks going through.
I was actively in the sun.
I think they call that a coif.
Whatever it was an incredible amount of sex appeal for a 3rd grader. And, he got a little jealous, and,
I was jelly. I was.
But see, here's the thing: on the playground, you know, people start picking each other. You're playing kickball, you're playing football and stuff, and you know, people get upset about that. It's a big deal. If you're picked last, everybody knows. Hey, either you're not good at sports or you're not that cool.
Or you don't have friends.
Yeah. Luckily for me and Jake, we were never picked last.
True.
So our friendship ended up morphing probably in like 5th or
It took a little bit.
maybe like 2
It
years.
took a little bit. I don't even remember what the turning point was.
There was there was never any like beef or anything or like I don't like this guy. I don't, you know, this dude's a jerk or whatever.
No.
We just didn't
We just avoided each other.
talk really.
Yeah. I think what changed it all was when we found out how close we lived to each other.
Yes.
I think that's what changed everything.
Yes.
Because I would literally walk to your
And
house.
yeah, Jake was wild enough that he would ride bikes to my house or walk to my house and
Easily a mile and a half away, and I'm like 12 years old.
my mom
10
would be
years
like
old,
so
12 years
upset, like, "What are you doing? Like, you walk? Why are you walking here? We
Yeah.
could have came and got you."
old.
Like,
Right. Crazy.
it was. And looking back, you're like, as a kid, you're like, "Oh my gosh, so, like I just gotta go. Like, my mom's not gonna take me. She's not gonna do anything."
Yeah.
And then I'm like, it was a 2-minute drive. Like they could,
It was close.
all they had to do was just
Just rock us there.
ride
That
over.
was it.
They could have even let us
Bicycles.
take the car. We wouldn't even got in trouble.
That happened a couple times. Happened a couple times, maybe. I don't know. I'm not gonna throw anybody under the bus here,
It's true.
but it happened a couple times. So let's talk school then, since we started on school.
Yeah.
The good old First Assembly Concord Academy, CFA, FACS, every other name that it's had while we were there.
Charter. I don't even know
Multiply
what it's
School
called
of
anymore.
Schools in Concord. It is now Concord Academy. Yeah, K through 12 for me, 3 through 12 for you.
3 through 12 for me. Yeah, that's a lot of years. And
That's a lot of years.
like looking back now that I'm older and everything, I love that. All my friends that I've known, really, it's been like since I was so young,
Long time.
like single digits in
Yeah.
age, and it's like I got 13 years, 15 years with some of these people, and
Yeah,
it's
bro.
like I don't know. There's a lot of people I meet out west, being in LA and stuff now. Is like I don't hear a lot of friendships like this. Like, oh yeah, I've known him for 3 years.
I
Like,
mean, I got you,
I met him when I was out here.
we got Birch, we got Sam,
Yep,
Brian,
yep,
who else? Alex, Maddie. I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
these people, obviously, Brittany Wiggins, Josh Denton.
yep.
Like several of those people were not really close. Like we're still acquaintances. Mackenzie Petrunik.
Yeah.
Lots of names. I'm name dropping out here. I don't even know if I'm allowed to do this when we're going to publish this. Just say everybody's name without their permission. But everybody, that we were cool with growing up, it kind of surprises me that we're we're still as close as we are.
Yeah.
And some of those people that were like friends from the beginning, we're not really as connected with anymore.
Yeah. I know. I think it kind of goes through phases. I mean, we went through phases where we like would barely talk, or I just wouldn't answer.
Mostly the second one.
Not because I didn't like him or anything, but just life happens, and
Yeah.
you go through some stuff, but we always come back. That's one thing I love about my friends is no matter how long, like my real true like close friends like you and like
Mhm.
you just named everybody and all that stuff. No matter how long it is, I could go back with that person, and it's like boom, we'll just take off
Right back.
where we left.
Right back. Yeah, that's cool. So school, we did that. Let's talk a little bit. About that transition for you from the Concord, like these are my people, these are my friends I've grown up with, and then jumping down to Florida and then out to LA.
Yeah.
Let's hit on that a little bit and talk about getting out there.
Yeah, so I mean, before college, the only time I ever had to like go do anything new is when I left my elementary school in 3rd grade and came to another
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
And then it's like whatever, however many amount of years later, I'm having to do it all again, and it's like starting over. It's so weird. It's like you can kind of make a new slate for yourself, and you're like, I can kind of build like this reality. Like they don't really know anything about me, but
Right.
you don't want to lie and be untruthful. But it's also like they don't know all my secrets and everything. Like
All of a sudden from New York, like
Yeah.
a billionaire family.
yeah, no, I could have any life I wanted to, and they would have no idea. But I like that. I mean, you were down in Florida for a little bit, like
Yeah.
an hour or so away from me, so you know
Right.
what it's like to start over and go to college and have fresh faces where you're just kind of making a name for yourself and like establishing yourself. There's always like cliques and everything, but it's like you get in where you fit in. Really,
Yeah.
LA is. I feel like transitioning to college from high school to college is way easier than going to LA because when you go from high school to college, it's like all right, everybody is not
They're doing the
different.
same thing.
Yeah, they're all
Yeah.
like we're here for school. We're
Right.
trying to do something with our lives, like
Mm-hmm.
or we're gonna have fun or whatever it is, and everybody
Yeah.
knows like that's what they're doing. When you go move somewhere after school and start adulthood, it's like, all right, where are you gonna meet friends? Like, how are you
Yeah.
gonna
Find something in
like? I guess
common.
you'll have some work friends or whatever, and
Right.
then it's like that's all it kind of is. Everybody's on a professional level, and nobody's like, "Oh, you want to hang out?" It's like, nah, like I gotta work tomorrow. It's like,
I gotta
yeah,
get up at 5.
same.
Crazy.
But I don't know. What do you think about that? Like transitioning and not like transitioning locations and from
Let
high
it be known
school
I will
to
not be making any kind of
yeah.
transition.
Jake is mid transition right now.
So it's tough. I mean, it's really tough. You talk about going from something that was like the foundation of your life
Mm-hmm.
with, for me, family, like so close, same with you, uh, you know, to, for me, the transition was a lot more aggressive than yours. Like yours, you knew and were kind of planning for at least a couple months.
Yeah.
Mine was right out of high school, I wasn't going to go to college. I was just going to start working
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't want to take out debt. And then, I felt like the Lord was kind of tugging on my heart to go down to Southeastern for a semester. And I literally made that decision and was down there in like 36 hours. So I'm in the middle of a job in Greensboro. I get back to the hotel that evening and I'm like, I just felt it really heavy on my heart that I was supposed to go to school. So I called my parents and talked to them about it a little bit, and they're like, "That's a big decision. Are you sure? Whatever." Then I called my boss, and I was like, "Hey, I really appreciate this opportunity." I had been on the job for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, that was the power line thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I was like, "Hey, I really appreciate the opportunity here. I think that this company's great, but I feel like the Lord's calling me to go to college." And he was awesome. He was great. I won't name drop him because I don't know if he wants people to know, but he was awesome about it. He was like, "Yeah, you got to do what the Lord's pushing you to do, and be. You always know when you're in the right thing because you have peace about it."
Right.
There was something Wesley said on Sunday that was talking about how you can still have peace in the middle of chaos if it's if you're walking in the Lord's will for your life.
Right.
The world can be so chaotic, your life can be chaotic, but you can still have peace knowing that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing and
Yeah.
kind of through all of that. And I just had a peace about it. I was like, I feel like this is the right thing. And I know my wife is probably going to have like flashbacks because it was very traumatic for her. We were dating at the
Absolutely.
time. We had only been dating for like maybe a year. And I called her and I was like, hey, I'm leaving for Florida tomorrow morning. I'm on my way back from Greensboro now. We went to Waffle House at like 11 p.m. And I think we were there till 1
Wow.
and said our goodbyes. And then like 5 a.m., I have nothing for college. I have no classes scheduled or anything. I'm admitted and I know I'm coming down. While we're driving down in the car with my parents, I am calling the academic advisor getting classes on the schedule. And so I had like a 4 class, 12 credit hour schedule
Yeah.
because I was just getting into what was left.
That's
And
crazy.
8 hours later, we're down in Orlando. I'm getting moved into my dorm room with nothing. We go to Walmart, grab everything. And so like in literally a matter of 36 hours, I'm laying in my bunk in a dorm room in Florida after working in Greensboro the day before.
That's nuts.
So it's just
You,
transitions like that.
something about you love stuff like that. Like
I
you
love it.
love abrupt change. Like
Yes.
so many times it's just like, yep, I'm switching right
But I
now.
have to because my personality type is so comfortable in routine.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with what I know. And so if I don't do it aggressive like that, I'll talk myself out of it.
Okay, so it's more of like a I'm too comfortable. This needs to switch. I'm gonna switch it
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, it's like human nature is do what's easy.
Yeah,
And for me, my tendency is do what's easy. Do it the easy way. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? I don't really have this obviously a character flaw of mine, but I have a hard time pushing myself to do things that are difficult. Other than like marriage and parenting are obviously they have their own difficulties
right, right,
and you have to work through that, but that's a choice and a covenant that I made when I decided to become a husband, when I decided to become a father. I made a promise to God that I was going to be faithful in that.
right.
So I do the best I can.
Yeah,
But in like life practice, I've just found it really tough to convince myself to try to do difficult things.
yeah,
And I'm sure other people deal with that. There are lots of people that I admire. Most successful people are the ones who can convince themselves to do something
yeah.
difficult
Let's do it
and like push through it.
full force. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. It's just human nature is to be lazy and just to be comfortable and be complacent. So it's
Yeah. Well,
to
trying is
even,
scary.
well, yeah,
Trying is what brings failure into play, and we're so afraid to fail because things like social media and the media in general,
yeah,
when you fail, it's like there's this thing going around Facebook that's a teacher puts up 10 equations on the board, gets the first one wrong, puts like 1 times 9 is 7 or something like that.
okay,
The other 9 she gets correct. And the students lose their mind, like hysterically laughing at her for getting the 1 wrong. And she's like, "Yeah, but I got 9 right." And she said, "So let
yeah. It's
that
like,
let that be a life lesson." And I don't know if this is a real story, something somebody made up. I just saw it on Facebook,
yeah,
and that spoke to me because it's so true. Like you can get 99% of your life right, and you do one thing wrong, and that's what everyone knows you by.
yeah, yeah. No, it's like everybody's always looking for a reason to say like, you know, well, I'm better. I'm better
Exactly.
than this person.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, but you did this.
Exactly.
It's like, what are we proving here? Like, who is not as bad?
Right.
Like, all right,
You suck less than
congrats.
I do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're a little less worse than me.
That's all it is. It's all about how can I make myself feel better at the expense of others.
Yeah,
And maybe it's not on purpose. Like maybe there are some people who are genuinely not trying to make someone else feel bad,
right.
but they're trying to make themselves feel better.
Yeah,
I do it all the time. I'm not going to say I don't.
yeah. I mean, I definitely, you know, that's another thing too. It's our pride, man. It's like sometimes it'll get the best of you, and you don't even know that you're doing it, and you're like, wow, I just went really hard on this person,
And
just
you
because
feel
I wanted to be
terrible.
right or I
And you
wanted to
feel
look good or
terrible
whatever, and then
after. Yeah.
yeah, later on you're like, I could have really went without that. Then it's funny because it's like the thing that you thought would make you feel the best is like now like, wow, this has got me feeling kind of crappy right now.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think you take that with a grain of salt. Everybody's gonna struggle with them things. Everybody's gonna have times where they're, you know, lifting themselves up while pushing someone else down. You just gotta acknowledge that you're doing that. I think,
Yeah.
and be aware of it and try not to do it. And even if you do, just work past it. Apologize to that person, whatever you need to do, and move on.
Yeah.
You gotta forgive but not forget, or
Yeah.
you could forget
To
but
forget.
never forgive.
See, that's the problem. Like, for instance, I'll do this publicly. I forgive you.
I
We were
forgive.
supposed to start filming 2 hours ago, and my man likes to sleep.
Well, so yesterday I asked Jake. He said, "What time do you want to do this?" I said, "Like 11:30, 11." I was thinking like 10, 10:30. He says to me, "I'm like, yeah, but it's a little early." He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yeah, 11:30." So I just wanted Jake to know I forgive him for not choosing my
Well,
time. That I said
let's just get this straight. Even if we had chosen 11 or 11:30, you got here at 12 o'clock.
it was not 12.
Yes,
It
it
was
was.
like 11:50 ish, and 20 minutes is not bad.
But it wouldn't be that big of a deal if Tuesday night hadn't happened. Tuesday night,
Okay.
Trey is gonna come and play on our softball team because you have to play one week to be able to be
To
on a
be-
roster in the playoffs.
Yeah, to be eligible for
Which
playoffs, you have to
you
come
might
at
be
least
here
play
for that.
one regular season game with the team, and then you don't have to play another one for the rest of the regular season, and you could come back and play in the playoffs.
Yes.
And I had a chance of being here for the playoffs.
He had
I'll
one
let you.
chance.
I'll just get your side. I'll tell you my side.
And our game was at 9 p.m.
That's a late game. A lot of people go to
9
bed before that.
p.m.
Let's let that be known.
My man was knocked out for a nap. Not even bedtime. He was on somebody's couch in Mooresville when we were playing in Concord at 9 p.m. Not answering the phone. I had to call your mother. Your mother didn't know where you were. I'm sure she thought you were dead.
Yes, you've been freaking my mom out.
And then I
lately
was
with
just smart enough to know whose house you were at and text them.
So
there's no good reason.
basically, what I want to say about this is, all right, I had a long day, okay, and I've been working. And I just got.
No, you have.
And
You have not been working here.
I was working a couple days before, before I got to North Carolina.
Recuperating from last week's work.
Yeah, last week I was working, and listen, everybody knows this. When you don't get a lot of sleep, okay, it takes a few days for you to catch up on that. Everybody knows this. I was down on my sleep. I was exhausted. It's been a long day. I was getting stressed out. I thought, oh my God, I'm back for softball. I haven't played since spring. What am I gonna do? They're over here talking about, oh yeah, you're gonna pop out, like be rusty and all this
Nope,
stuff.
nobody
You
said
might have
that.
to be. They were talking just extremely hurtful.
Pretty sure you threatened one of our teammates and then didn't show up to back it up.
All right, let's wait on that. So, I'm thinking, all right, I want to be my best for these guys on the softball field. I want to give them my all.
Mm.
So what do I need? I need to recharge. Let me just sit down, rest my eyes for a little bit, and get my mind right. So I'm thinking, all right, I'll pop down, a little 30-minute nap. I'm on the couch. You know what I'm saying? I'm at my friend. It's not somebody random. It was at my buddy Drew's house.
Yep.
Both of our friends. We went to school with them also. I'm like, yeah, pop down 30 minutes, get a little recharge, get out there, hit the ball around a little bit, maybe play second. And 2 hours later, and I woke up on that couch, and I immediately thought, no way, I sat here for 2 hours asleep with my friend there, and my phone blowing up. My phone had so many notifications on it.
Everybody.
And he didn't even wake me up or anything, which he finally did end up waking me up because I think you texted him and he got me up or something, or my mom texted him or something. And he finally ended up getting me up.
I had to figure out where you were.
I missed the
first.
game. I didn't miss the game. It was kind of like
No, you missed it.
10 minutes before the game,
Yeah,
but
you chose not to come.
I would have had to take 30 minutes to go get all my stuff back home, and then another 15
What did you
minutes.
need? You use our glove and stuff.
My glove. I got my
Oh,
shoes.
We got all that extra.
My jersey.
We got all that extra.
I didn't have anything.
Let that be a lesson.
But for the record, Buddy beat me in fantasy, and he was talking an extreme amount of trash in my DMs on Instagram. And I told him I was going to come.
You weren't man enough to show up.
I told him I was going to come beat him up at the softball field, and then.
And then you got scared, and that's why.
I didn't get scared. I just thought to myself, I said, Trey, what are you doing? This guy has a family. This guy has a family. He needs to provide for them. You can't keep him out of work for 3 weeks for
beating him up
and hurting him.
Yeah.
So, Buddy, let that be known. You're welcome. I just want to say you're welcome to Buddy and his family. I'm just kidding. I love Buddy.
All right. So we've been a little long-winded on this one. We might have to push some topics into episode 2 because I think we're probably getting close to time.
Yeah, that's fine.
I want to do one little thing. We're going to do a question of the day, and we're going to let people that watch this, you guys can send stuff in. We'll get you links and all that where you can send it to. We're going to start doing like a question of the day for the guests. So we'll probably release, I guess, at some point, the guest list, like who's going to be on.
Yeah.
So you can ask questions specifically for the guests. Probably until we start doing that, I'm just going to pull questions and see. So one I got up here is, if you could change one thing about your past, what would it be?
Like physical or like about me or
whatever.
just something that happened in
I
the
kept it
past?
real general just because I wanted you to just be able to talk about whatever came to your mind.
You know, this is kind of the first thing like popping into my head and something that I'm like, I guess it's not something I would, well, I guess it is something I would change, but it's not a physical or something that happened. I think I would have chose to be happier more
How?
in situations and just choose to be, you know, just to turn the other cheek and not go down the road of bitterness or
By like avoiding the altercation?
not even a. I enjoy altercations and like
Like the unnecessary ones.
so
Ones where you know you're not going to
right.
win somebody's opinion.
Altercations is where the real juice happens. That's where you find out like, all right, let's figure this out.
Yeah,
This is where it happens
absolutely.
in the
Right.
altercation. But I think after that or like sometimes during it, I think I chose anger more or bitterness or um, kind of like offensive or whatever, and I would
Yeah.
have just been
Just
happier,
cut the
more.
relationship off.
I guess more mature. The more mature I get, I'm just like, well, the pointless things. I don't
Yeah.
like what really matters here,
Right.
and I feel like you can be happy at the end of any situation.
Oh, absolutely. It's all about perspective.
And I would have chosen to be happy more. I wouldn't have been upset. I wouldn't have let things bother me as much. I would have kind of just moved on and
Yeah. I think about the funny dynamic of Trey and mine, our friendship, is like when we were younger, we would literally be sitting in there playing Xbox or whatever in your room, get into a full blown fist fight,
oh yeah,
and then 5 minutes later we're sitting down playing Xbox again,
oh yeah.
and that was the end of it.
Listen, I'm gonna say this one story. We were at the beach one time, and I can't remember what happened. We go to this campground, Lakewood. Shout out to
Come
Lakewood.
on,
It's
Lakewood.
incredible. We
We'd
would
love for you
go,
to have us down. By the way, we'll host
yeah,
our podcast there at Lakewood if you
yeah,
guys are up
right
for
on
it.
beachside.
Yep,
Interview some random
on the
strangers.
beach.
Yeah, just the ocean the whole time.
Random people screaming.
Yeah, so me and Jay get in a big fight. I don't know what it's about. It's probably about some girls or some basketball or something. Who knows?
I don't know.
Because we were always getting into something out there.
I don't remember.
And Jake jumps off the golf cart while I'm driving. Do you remember this? In the
No.
middle of the campground, jumps. I'm going full speed. Jumps off the golf cart and starts walking towards the beach, away from me on the golf cart, and is like mad at me. And I'm like, "What are you doing?" Like, I'm like, "Get in the golf cart." Like, there's like people around, a bunch of people, and he's like, "Nah, like, get out of here." I'm like, "Get in the golf cart, bro." And finally, he gets in the golf cart. Literally 2 minutes goes by. I think it was raining and stuff. We hit a couple puddles or whatever, and it was like we never even had an
I
argument.
don't even remember what that was, bro.
I don't even know what the
I have
argument was
no
about. I
idea.
just know that we were so mad. You jumped off the golf cart full speed, started walking away from you, and I like whipped it around. I'm like, "Bro, get in the golf cart."
Oh my gosh. All right,
Finally got
so
in and we were
that
good.
reminds me because now we got to pick this story up, and I'm sure we're going way over time.
Well,
But this is episode 1,
Congratulations on this
we can
bonus.
set what the bonus story. We'll call it a bonus story, and then I'll answer the question too. Do you remember when those dudes flipped the golf cart and took off running? All right, so me and Trey, we're rocking, just riding down. Like we rented a golf cart. Trey's parents were always the absolute best. Kelly and Al hooking us up,
Yes.
taking us down to the beach. Ma and Paul as well.
Yep.
They would rent a golf cart for the family and just be perfectly cool with them having to walk all their stuff to the beach
They never used
because
it.
all we're doing is driving the golf cart around the
Yeah.
campground, just in circles.
Having a blast.
Not even doing anything most
Yeah,
of the time.
not even going anywhere, just riding it
literally
around
driving,
like it's a car.
murdering the battery. And we're coming up to this intersection, and all you hear is skirt, and this thing turns over with like 4 dudes on it.
Yeah.
And one guy gets pinned under it and is like sliding with the thing
Yeah, it was
under
nasty.
the golf cart. Got his skin all ripped up. Sorry for the graphic. The other 2 dudes jump off the back and are gone.
Yeah, they just leave them there.
Like land in a full sprint and take off.
Yep.
And the dude that was driving like starts to help his buddy for a minute, and then he bails.
Yeah.
And all that's left is the skinned up dude laying on the ground, golf carts on the side. The batteries are everywhere.
Yep. Flipped out the back.
It was crazy.
It was crazy. Honestly, it was like a movie because we're like going straight, and all of a sudden from the left, it's just like this golf cart just comes
Just
out of
getting
nowhere, sliding and just slams.
It was insane.
Yeah, and everybody ran away and just left that guy there, kind of hurt. And I hope that guy's all right. I don't know if he died or not, but I don't think he died because it looked like he was still breathing.
Well, yeah, that was rough. And then on another note, speaking of near-death experiences on a golf cart, I don't know if it was that same trip or not. I think it was. Nasty storm came in. Not like your regular beach afternoon shower, like rain just kind of trickling in for an hour or two and then it's gone. This was like full-on downpour, like maybe tropical storm. I have no idea. You got like foot-deep puddles everywhere. Lightning's crashing down, and then there's me and Trey rocking around in the golf cart, just full speed smashing into puddles. The water's flying.
Going over the golf cart, yeah.
That was dumb. Your mom called us, and she is absolutely livid that we are out in that storm.
Mad.
The dumbest thing we probably did as far as safety goes. We did some pretty dumb stuff, but as far as like our own safety goes, outside of after getting licenses later on in life, that was probably the dumbest thing.
Yeah, I just look back and I'm like, we were such a handful. Like we were a lot to worry about. Like I guess as you're a father now, I'm sure you would be like, yeah, my kid's not running around like we were and doing.
I don't know though, because we had so much fun, and we really did
It
learn.
was.
Like we learned a lot from it too.
See, that's what I was telling somebody the other day. I said, I look back at my childhood and everything when I was younger, and I'm like, I'm so happy I wasn't just like a loser, didn't do anything, and didn't have fun. Like I went out and had fun and hung out with friends and got into some mischief, and sometimes I got in trouble, and sometimes I got away with it, and
got away with a lot.
Learning and freaking living wild and enjoying. I don't know. I enjoy stuff like that.
See, as an adult though, now looking back, I can now understand why some of the adults let us do the stupid stuff we did.
Yeah. Because
like there's some things we did that were really dumb in hindsight that I'm like, I'd probably let Oliver try that. Like just to know, you have to.
I mean,
especially
you gotta
as
get
a
life
man,
experiences and everything. Yeah, I agree.
especially as a man, like you have to test your limits to know what you're capable of.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely have some things that I'm like, well,
Yeah, there's questionable things.
As my child, I would avoid that, please. Let's not get into that.
All right, cool. I'm gonna answer this question, and then we're gonna close this episode.
All right, let me ask Jake right now.
Yeah.
Jake, question of the day. Okay, if you could change one thing about your past, what would it be?
One thing. I'm going to go with the knowledge side of it. There's actually two things, and I'm cheating because I'm going to say two things, but it's my podcast.
Breaking his own rule and his own question.
Number one, I would want to care more about my own financial literacy. I made some serious financial mistakes as a young adult when even like into marriage. I just did some stupid stuff, borrowing money on things I didn't need to, and just spending money that I had to, like I could afford it, but spending it on super expensive things that were just unnecessary that I kind of justified, that put us in bad positions later on. I just wish I knew more and understood how important it was to keep a stable base financially because I got out of college making good money.
Yeah.
And then the second thing would be, I wish I had built a routine through football and everything where I had a drive to work out. Because I'm like a once a month, maybe gym guy. Like I play basketball, I'll play pickup ball, I'll play softball. I'm on the golf course, but that doesn't do anything. But I have zero drive to get in the gym, and I struggle with that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Obviously, I went way downhill since high school and everything, but I'm getting to a point where I'm like, I got to do something.
Yeah, same.
This isn't really fun anymore.
So coming soon, the YouTube series of me and Trey getting back into shape.
Sex appeal for real. That's what we're going to call it.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. We will have another episode for you coming up, so stay tuned for that. We'll probably release maybe once a week. Don't know what day yet, but I'll throw that down when we launch this one, and appreciate you.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Throw some comments in there. Let us know what you want to hear us talk about. And if you want to see any special guests, we'll have them on.
Yeah. Anyone.
Anybody.